not, Webb. He can play.
Carl Webb, great to see you. How you going?
Yeah, mate. As average as diagnosis is and everything is, yeah, we're still really positive and we're still battling away.
MND can affect every element of your life, the way you walk, talk, eat, drink, breathe, move. What have you noticed since your diagnosis that you've lost?
With my journey with MND, it'll be a couple of months where I'll have a slip, like where it'll be quite noticeable, the deterioration, and like you said, it attacked me first in my hands, through my top half of my body. Now it's moving through my legs, and you can hear it affecting my speech now as well. So it is a systematic killer, which is why, in a way, I'm grateful that I can get ahead of it and at least keep my mental strength. I would be lying if I didn't say that during those slips, it doesn't really impact on your mental health. But, you know, I've got a great team and support around me, you know, with family, friends, rugby league world, and just everyone, really. It's been quite overwhelming, that support. But it has brought me closer to my people.
What were the early signs for you looking back? When did you realise maybe something's not right?
Just the small things, struggling to button up a shirt, holding a dinner plate and a cup to go back to the table for a meal. Initially, I just thought, oh, this could be a back injury or something spinal, and I'll go check that out. And then it was things like I couldn't even do, 10 push-ups, and because strength had always been a big part of my game, and I thought, well, that's really odd. And even just that, simple exercise was really tough, and I thought, yeah, there's really something wrong here, and I better go get it checked out. Seeing the specialist and said, mate, look, this could be MND. At the start, I was like, well, what the bloody hell is MND, And it wasn't until I walked out of the specialist office and just Googled it, and then it was kind of like a, baseball bat to the head, and then everything seemed to be a blur for a couple of days, and just for my mind to catch up with things, and I was still then thinking, look, shit, I hope it's not MND. I hope it's something a little more simple that could explain it. But deep down, I knew there was something wrong, and then unfortunately, a couple of weeks later, after a few more tests, it was confirmed.
I can only imagine the information and the images and the words that were jumping out at you in that point. That must have been so frightening. Did you feel like your world was closing in really quick?
Yeah, just so much confusion, extremely confronting. To see the images and then just to read about it and educate myself about what this really was. It would have been 2 weeks and I was still reeling. Just getting around to telling my family, close friends, and then before long, word got to everyone. The rugby league world, at the Fogs, Kevy over at the Broncos, and Ribes up at the Cowboys. Everyone just wanted to help. And look, even though my world was spinning, it was just great to know you've got your people in your corner. I just had this overwhelming amount of support, which sort of certainly did help me through that period.
Motor neurone disease affects those nerve endings from the brain, the spinal cord, leads to that wasting and that weakness that is so tough to experience for those diagnosed. What did the doctors say? Why you? What, did they give any reason? Is it hereditary? Is it anything with lifestyle? Is it rugby league? What did they say? Why you?
There's still a lot of mystery around the disease. I mean, there are a lot of cases where, you know, siblings, 3 siblings in a family will, you know, get the disease. Other cases are just one-off, like myself. There are studies around lifestyle, diet, different things, and which sort of rang a bell with me because, I mean, the sort of punishment, not on the field, but off seasons where you put a lot of weight on, I was always guilty of that. You know, having to pull 20 kilos off every pre-season, you know, is certainly not good for the body.
Do you look back now and look at the way you played with so little self-preservation, so brave, but any regrets with the way you went about things, the way you threw and punished your body, as you mentioned, not just on the field but off the field? Or would you not be the man you are? You wouldn't have the memories that you do have if it wasn't for rugby league?
Wally was asked that same question, and I'd have to agree. I wouldn't change a thing. I really wouldn't. I've got a lot of regrets in life, but I will live with those. Quite happy to. But if I didn't sort of have my journey, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I'm happy. You know, I'm cool with it. It was a really good ride. But then, you know, life after football was great too. I've had my wonderful children. And, yeah, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have this. You know, it's a bitter pill to swallow, but, yeah, I wouldn't change a thing.
What have doctors said to you about life expectancy? I'm guessing that's a really tough conversation to hear and to ask. Yeah,
well, that's something you've got to live with every day. And just how different this disease is. And obviously being in contact with other sufferers and just seeing their journey is a lot different than mine. Some similarities, however, a lot of people have a lot quicker journey than what I'm going through. Like, it's just over 4 years on now after diagnosis, and I'm still able, you know, my body's getting weaker, but I'm still able to, you know, eat, swallow, and, you know, talk. Obviously, it's affected my speech, but as far as this garbage disease goes, I'm pretty lucky with the time I've been given.
Super League legend Rob Burrow, he's going through very similar M&D challenges. Have you been in contact?
Our team have, but look, I've followed his journey fairly closely. I've read his book. He's a true inspiration, but again, the team he has around him, his people, his mates, and just how they've supported him through. Oh, it's great to see, but it's really refreshing to know that, you know, you do get a rubbish hand, but you've also got people there that, you know, care, and they just want to be there for you. And I think that's something that, yeah, I've really loved and respected with my support system and all the boys around me. And through this, I've made it a priority to catch up with the boys as much as possible, and everyone's just turned up. And so it's been great.
Reconnecting, sharing old memories. There's plenty of memories to share. Let's go back. So rugby league for you, was it always an option? Born in Mount Isa, Dalby diehard, Dalby Devil. Even as a young kid, were you the big bully kid that was just pushing the other ones over? Were you just made for rugby league even in those early days?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was a bully. I was a bit bigger than the other kids, but for mine, I was always focused on the game. Growing up in Dalby was just wonderful because it's a massive rugby league community. And I just think like a lot of those rural communities, when the local footy team's going well, the community's going well. Even now with my journey, my community at home at Dalby has just been wonderful, you know, and I've got that many fond memories of growing up there as a Devils junior and how it shaped me and gave me sort of the skills to then move forward. And my experiences, what I experienced at home, I tried to take to every club I went to, not just the rugby league, but being a club man as well.
The club man, very much cherished for the qualities that you bring to every club. Toowoomba Clydesdale. So when did the Broncos come knocking?
Fairly early, I was noticed by the great Cyril Connell and scholarshiped and just went through that whole system. During that time, the great Arthur Beetson was quite keen as well, but going south of the border was going to be a fairly big transition for me. Plus, I grew up a Bronco, so I wanted to stay, and yeah, I think it was 99 debut at Townsville against the Cowboys. After that, you know, everything was full steam ahead.
Well, let's go to the debut. You become a Brisbane Bronco, the new baby Bronco. Your forward pack on that day, you put 50 on the Cowboys in Townsville, but your forward pack, Webke, Sivanasiva, Brad Thorne, Kevin Campion, and your captain is Gordon Tallis. You're off the bench as a young Carl Webb, about to step into the National Rugby League. That is a phenomenal forward pack. That's one of the best forward packs I think the game's ever put together. What was it like? What was that experience like for you?
Oh, look, obviously a lot of big names, big characters in that team, just stacked. And then you've got to make your bones amongst that. I guess, though, there was not a lot of pressure because you've got those guys there and you felt invincible when you went on the field with them.
Carl Webb trying to bust his way up the centre, the youngster. 18 years of age and looked upon as just about the strongest guy within the Broncos ranks, Carl Webb.
We had a lot of hungry young players coming up and I think it just drove us, you know. It lit that fire in our bellies because we did. If we had to make a splash, it had to be a big one because we were behind some of the game's greatest forwards and players.
Well, your first memory is at training. He was just so powerful, and then I remember him in a gym that like the big boys would go and lift weights, and they're in the 200 club, and Carl Webb went to 250 in a squat as a kid. He just had so much natural ability. Like, he was a superstar kid. I think he was a Golden Gloves at the age of 12 to 16 boxing. When it came to rugby league, he was super talented.
So who was your mentor? Who's the one that put you under their arm and said, righto, come with me, this is how we're going to make you one of the best forwards we've seen?
Yeah, Shane Webb, he was probably one of the hardest teachers you'll get. He just gave me nothing. But he did, he was a hard teacher, but I'll tell you what, everything I picked up from him has certainly helped me a great deal later on. And, of course, Gordon.
If he says that he was intimidated, we didn't know. He just joined in. He wasn't a guy that spoke a lot at training either. He would just tip you, and he was quite mature because he'd tell you what he was doing. And he liked to tip on. He was really clever with the ball. So he slotted in. He might say that he was intimidated, but I didn't feel. And he was one of my favourite players to play with because he could just blow a game apart in 20 minutes.
Shane Webke breaks his arm leading into the Broncos premiership in 2000. This is an opportunity for you. What did Wayne say he needed from you?
Just to make an impact and just do what I do, keep my head.
He'll get his chance. Carl Webb bounce.
Mayhem at Ericsson. All hell has broken loose. Punches coming from everywhere.
I think that's the only time I've been sent.
It was. That was your only sin bin, which is a pretty good track record. Did you think you got away with a few then?
Oh, absolutely. I think a lot of people got away with a lot
2005, you're now a North Queensland Cowboy, bit of a chip on your shoulder. Your front row, back row, bench, the great Graham Murray has got you all travelling towards what would inevitably be a grand final. Last game of the regular season, the Red Mist descends. What are you thinking up against Ryan Hoffman? Take me back to that moment. What went wrong?
That was back in the days when their wrestle was huge, you know, and then... But you could hear it, and you used to get manhandled in the tackle. There'd be three of them talking. It was great organising. I tell you, it was intimidating. I'm just getting back from an injury anyway, and I don't know, I lost it.
Making sure he didn't interfere in the play of the ball. Furman in back play. Carl Webb's hit Ryan Hoffman. The referee stopped play.
2005, obviously, the Cowboys go on to play the grand final against the West Tigers, and you're back in Townsville. Another one that you're sitting out. Did you think, Carl, what are you doing?
It was all going through my head. I was thinking, oh, no, not here. It's another one.
Another one.
Is. Even to get an opportunity to play finals footy. But, yeah, heartbreaking. Again, one of those regrets.
Here's Carl Webb straight through. That was too easy. He knocks the referee over and scores the try.
Origin was another place that you really made a name for yourself. 2005, you become an Origin icon. You influence generations to come of Queensland fans shaving a Q into their head. Who came up with the Q idea? Who shaved you? And what was the reaction from everyone?
And I wanted to do something unique, I guess, and it was a very spur-of-the-moment thing.
It looked it. It looked it. It was, I think it's even better because it's like a hexagon. It's not quite a Q. It's excellent.
It's a wild show, but I remember asking the hairdresser, and she looked at me like, what do you want? But then...
So you're in camp?
Yeah, that was a day of game, hairdresser at the hotel. It just happened, but then, yeah, that was fireworks that night.
Unbelievable. But it really signalled a shift in... Because we saw the Q, but then this iconic moment, you're after Luke Bailey, and it just... The whole thing really erupts. Tell me about them. What was going on for you at that time that it meant so much to you to put the Q in the side of your head? We obviously know that you were bleeding maroon, but this was one of the most aggressive that we've seen. You just went out. What was the problem there?
See, I just battled my way back into the squad after a 2-year hiatus, I believe, and so it meant a lot to me. I think years later, thinking about it now, I guess, it was a statement. It was like, OK, if I'm going to shave this to the side of my head, I've got to back it up too, you know, like... And then just, yeah, sort of the eyes went red and then we're into it. After the last penalty, Lockie sort of just went, oh, right, that'll do, Charlie, you know, that's enough. And I said, no worries, mate, all good.
Do you think the Q was you at your most powerful?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I hadn't enjoyed my football as much as I had that season. You're also one of those rare Origin greats that score a try on debut. Could you believe your luck? No, not at all.
Now it's Webb, and Webb shrugs off a tackle. That of Croker. Webb goes for it. Webb's over. Webb's over. The 20-year-old. He's gone in to score.
Not too many people knew too much about him, but I know one-on-one he's going to be a real handful. And then I go to run a play and he sharked me, the bugger. He got in and he took my run, and I remember giving him a bit of a mouthful, say, don't do that. Don't do that, because I was going to back myself, and there was a play on and he overcaught it and sort of snaked me a little bit, and then about 5 minutes later he gets this ball and he goes across to the left, and he just kept on shrugging him off, and he slams the ball down in the corner. And I remember when he slammed the ball and stood up, I still see it Still see the try today, and I just ran over and said, you can do whatever you want.
One of your first rep jerseys was for the Australian Aborigines in '99. It was a bit of a historic team up against Papua New Guinea, the Kumals, and the great Arthur Beetson was your coach. What was that experience?
Yeah, that was a real taste of representative footy, but then to play in a team with a lot of Indigenous men that I respected and looked up to. The great Cliffy Lyons was in there as well. I think Cliff is still going around, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he might be. He's fit enough. What did Artie do for the sense of self and the pride in yourself and the pride in your people in those early days? Because you were really around the start of rugby league, putting it up on the big stage, putting our Indigenous talent as prime time and as a priority for all the All-Stars.
He was always a huge influence in my life in general. I like to say we had a unique friendship. I could listen all day to him when he started telling old battle stories. But even the history of the game, I'm a huge fan.
The history of the game, you're then honoured in the Centenary Test, representing Australia in 2008. You've got that very special jersey on. That has to be one of the greatest Australian teams ever assembled. You play at the SCG. Can you remember just that being a bit of a pinch-me moment? It was that tremendous honour of being in that Centenary team as well. You know, we were all given a book, 100 Years of Rugby League, and I would occasionally glance at it, and I still do. It's just the wonderful history of our game and just how we all fit in and at certain points in time. And I'm just fortunate enough to, you know, be a part of that journey and story as well. How do you think you'll be remembered in the game? I'd like to hope it was character and that people enjoyed to play with me. Like I said earlier, it's a real frustrating and systematic torture, really, and mental strength is crucial through this whole period. How can we help? How can the game continue to help? You've got your long lunch and there's a charity match coming up? That's right. Again, without the continued support of the usual suspects in the rugby league fraternity, but also a wonderful friend in Troy Clarkson has just organised a charity football game for some of the old legends, and for the nostalgic people out there love to get out and support their old legends. 2 stacked teams to play against each other on the 14th of October at the Dolphin Stadium. So tickets will be available online. If anyone needs any further info, they can go on my foundation page and also the foundation long lunch, October 27. It's a charity match. It's all friendly until someone puts the first shot on. And generally that's how it happens every time. I guarantee you there'll be at least 4 serious injuries. That's worth the price of admission. Yeah, exactly. Carl, you've always been up for the fight. Keep fighting. We're always with you. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.